Hi, so today in this video, I'm going to talk about what skills you need to have in order to work in entry-level quant researcher positions, right? The definition of what is a quant researcher is a bit broad. Actually, it depends on which company you refer to. Some company consider quant researcher to be people who do academic research, publish things, and do heavy research, but they don't necessarily people who actually take the final decision. There are other front office people who actually take the decisions. So these people actually do the research but not do actual business. They don't talk to clients and they don't take important trading decisions just by themselves. So that's bit different from other companies wherein the quant researcher does end to end. He would come up with a trading idea, would develop it, discuss it, get it approved and execute it, and be responsible, accountable for the P&L, right? So that there are two types of quant researcher role. In some cases you have direct P&L accountability. In some other cases you may not have P&L accountability. Now each has its own pros and cons. If you have P&L responsibilities, obviously you will be likely more compensated. It's a role that you probably will more enjoy if you are interested in trading. But if you are more of an academic person, you probably like a role where you don't have any P&L accountability, but you just do your research, right? Now I'm going to talk about both types of role. I've come across, both the roles in many places, and it is entirely up to you as an aspirant to seek what you really like. I've known people who have actually moved from one type of quant, being a one type of quant researcher to the other type, and that is always possible, right? Um, Now, in the trading firms, the roles, the quant researcher roles are very practical. They're less academic. You're not going to be just sitting around and doing your research. That is almost never the case. Although in some cases I've seen such roles, but in most of the trading firms, as a quant researcher, you have to do everything end to end. Very less academic type role, right? You'll have to even write your code for implementation and everything, right? At the same time, you should have the curiosity, like a researcher would have. You should have necessary academic skills to be able to read papers, to be able to understand the different ideas presented by others. You should have some familiar with academic finance, but you may not be an expert in all those areas. The entry barrier for quant researcher in quant trading firm is actually a bit less compared to, let's say, in pension funds. In pension funds or other such asset management firms who are more into the long-term investment, or doing value research, that kind of work. Yeah, there you need to be a PhD, you need to have publications in your name, you should have a background in economics, finance, corporate finance, or international finance or financial markets, and so on and so forth. um, I think most people who work as like quant researcher or strategist, or sometimes they even call themselves as economist in the financial market world, I think they're mostly the PhD holder in academic finance, and strong knowledge of various academic models in the portfolio management area, but also in other areas such as in risk management and so on. Um, but these roles are there mostly in pension fund, sovereign wealth funds, and these places. But the new age trading firms, they don't bother about your knowledge of academic finance, right? Whether you have read research papers in finance or not, how many books you have read in the academic finance, they are least bothered about it. As long as you have understanding of some basics, you understand some financial products, different asset classes, you understand basics of risk management, and you have and willingness to learn the more practical side of things. So that's quite different in that way. And there are more jobs in the on the trading side for the quant researcher compared to that of the asset management side. On the okay, although that is also changing a bit. I see more and more jobs coming in pension funds and mutual funds and those places, which are very quantitative in nature. So we need to uh, do proper research, like financial research, there using data, using all kinds of information. But you're not certainly going to be doing a daily P&L kind of activity, which normally a trader would do, right? In terms of skills, actually, well, in the in the first type of roles, right, where you have end-to-end responsibility, right, it's an all-rounder job profile. That means you have to know everything end to end, right? You should be able to make money, so that's the primary or the most important thing, right? You have P&L accountability. But in order to get into such a profile, you need to have all kinds of, you need to have good business acumen. You need to have a good talent, good knowledge of financial markets and so on. Not academic, but more practical. Good communication skills. You should be able to write code, do research, be able to present your stuff to other people, because it's almost never the case that you come up with an idea and everybody likes it and then you go ahead and implementing it. You'll have to get your idea uh, approved by some committee. Like every trading firm has its his has these approval committees that you need to contact, you need to present to before you can do anything, right? So so those soft skills are also very, very important beside your technical skills in programming, modeling, understanding of finance, and so on, right? But more than anything, I think you should have strong interest in just doing trading, right? So whatever means you have done trading using your own money, or you have you know done courses, or you have done intensive, you have done whatever be the way to learn it. But I think you must have strong interest in just doing trading, and other skills are obviously important on your CV, like having a qualification, bachelor or master's degree in a quantitative field, understanding of products or regulations. You should be a bit more mature, right? Unlike the retail traders who consider themselves as geniuses, but actually they may not be anywhere close to that. But in the asset management side, right, if you want to become a quant researcher, then the skills needed are very specific, very limited, but you need to have good qualification, right? In those places they probably won't hire you if you do not have a master's degree. In fact, in most cases they would expect you to have a PhD. Right, there are exceptions though, but if you have, let's say, CFA and master's degree with a CFA, that's also fine. But having a strong academic background is very important. You must have studied academic finance formally. Interview also, they probably will ask you about portfolio theory and all these boring stuff. They probably will even ask you some academic models which may not work in the real world, but they expect you to know these things, right? Programming skills are less important there, right? You could just use some statistical language to do research. um, and you probably will have an IT team that would do the programming and implementation activities for you. So you have that luxury in those places. Your work will be very focused on doing proper research and less about doing the IT stuff, right? That's the nature of the work there. Whereas it is completely different if you work with, let's say, Two Sigma, right? There you have to do everything end to end. Although in some places I know there's in trading companies also, you have separation between the research people and the developers, or the IT tech people, um, and also separation between the P&L accountability and also research. That distinction is also that separation is also there in some trading firms, but not many. Right, so that's a bit about the job profile of a quant researcher. And as a beginner, if you are an absolute beginner and you're interested in such a profile, I think the first thing is to learn a bit yourself. You don't have do not have to be an expert in everything, but learn a bit about it and try getting an internship. Actually, that's the best way to get a job in this field. And if you do not have a finance qualification, right, if you are not a PhD in finance or you're not a CFA, then try to get into the trading firm. That's somewhat easier to work as a quant researcher compared to, let's say, asset side on the long term investment side, wherein you will have to be I mean, they will look for someone with strong finance background. You need to have CFA. In India, your chartered accountancy, right? Some you need to have a CA degree. Even with CA degree, it's difficult nowadays. But they hire also PhD economics and PhD finance people. Um, in Europe, where I live, I think most of the quant researcher I've spoken to, especially in pension fund and sovereign wealth funds in those places, they are almost always academic people, people with PhD in finance or economics, and people who have done financial market research in the academic world and published paper and so on. So yeah, so that's the thing. It may be a bit different in the US, but that's the nature of the work there. All right. Any more questions? Let me know in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching.